Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So Harlem is buzzing again after a new clip dropped showing Dave East and Un Kasa dancing to a Max B song, vibing heavy, laughing, really enjoying the moment. And because Max B is finally free, this moment hits even harder. But it also brought back the old Harlem loyalty talk. If you know the history, you know the tension that existed for years between Max B and Jim Jones, Dipset, Bird Gang, all of that. Dave East and Un Kasa always showed love and loyalty towards the Dipset side. So when fans saw them turning up to a Max B track, people online started debating whether this was a harmless celebration or a subtle disrespect. Some say, yo, Max B is home. Everybody should be happy. Others say, nah, if you stand on loyalty, you don't switch sides just because the wave is trending again. So here's where I want you to tap in. One, now that Max B is free, do you think Dave East and Un Kasa were paying respect or crossing a line? Two, does loyalty still matter in hip hop the same way it used to? Three, can you rock to someone's music without choosing sides? Four, if you were Jim Jones, would you feel any type of way seeing that clip? Five, and big question, is this just Harlem celebrating a legend, or is there a deeper message behind it? Jump in the comments. I want to hear your perspective.
Let's set the scene. Harlem, the beating heart of New York hip-hop, isn't just about music. It's about energy, style, and that relentless hustler mentality. But have you ever wondered why the aura of the mid-2000s still lingers in every corner? Back when Dipset ran the streets, we saw more than pink bandanas and booming mixtapes. We saw the birth of an era what sociologists might call a cultural hegemony, where one group's influence dominates, shaping the tastes and trends of an entire city. Then comes Max B, introducing a melodic cadence. Think of it as the difference between poetry and a catchy jingle, something Harlem hadn't heard before. Now, fast forward, and you'll see the DNA of those days in today's drill, trap, and even West Coast vibes. Still, one question echoes. What if the icons of that era, especially Max B and Jim Jones, could bridge the chasm that split the culture? Now, you might be thinking, can two giants with such a complicated past ever really move forward? That's not just a question for them, but for everyone who loves hip-hop's evolution. So, as we dive in, picture Harlem not just as a neighborhood, but as a living archive of beef, brilliance, and, maybe, a shot at redemption. Let me tell you a story that's bigger than music rights or mixtape drops. The fallout between Jim Jones and Max B was like a seismic event. Friendships fractured, crews went their separate ways, and lines were drawn in sand that just wouldn't wash away. In rap circles, we'd call this a civil war moment, a period when alliances collapse, and suddenly, the scene's political economy shifts. Jim Jones wasn't just the face of Dipset. He was its economic engine, leveraging what business schools call brand extension to turn rap cred into fashion, slang, and street currency. Meanwhile, Max B was a disruptor. Think of him as a software update that changes everything overnight. His vocal layering, or the way he stacked melodies, made every track contagious. But with innovation came tension. And soon, the split was about more than money. It was about identity. Now you might ask, was it inevitable? Maybe. But the real conflict was never just personal. It was about control over Harlem's narrative. That's why, for over a decade, you couldn't mention one without sparking debates about the other. The resolution? Still unwritten. But with both men older and, some say, wiser, the stage could be set for something that outlasts any mixtape beef. Imagine this: two legends, Max B and Jim Jones, not just calling a truce, but creating a new moment for Harlem. You might be wondering, why does it matter so much? Let's break it down. A reunion here isn't just about nostalgia. It's about what sociologists call collective memory, the shared experiences that define a community's pride. For 15 years, fans have argued, friendships have strained, and Harlem has, in some ways, been divided along the lines of this feud. A unified front would be a symbolic reconciliation, showing that old wounds can heal and that legacy can trump ego. Think about what that would mean for new artists watching from the sidelines suddenly. The message is clear. Growth is possible, even after the messiest splits. Now, you might ask, could a single handshake really change the energy of a city? Skeptical? Just look at the Dipset Versus effect. Harlem became the center of the universe, even if just for a night. That's the power of cultural catalysts. One moment, one room, two legends, and Harlem finds its heartbeat again. Let's talk about the music itself. If Jim Jones and Max B hit the studio, what could we expect? Here's where things get technical, but stick with me, it's worth it. Their chemistry is a perfect storm of contrasting timbres. That's music theory for how different voices can complement each other and synergistic energy. When two creative forces create something greater than the sum of their parts. Picture a track. Jim's raw, streetwise bars laying the foundation. Max B's melodic hooks floating over the top. It wouldn't just be a throwback, it would be a new sonic blueprint. A way for Harlem to reassert its dominance on a scene now crowded with auto-tune and drill. You might be thinking, isn't this just about nostalgia? Not at all. Hip-hop is always about reinvention. A reunion track could introduce wave music to a whole new generation and reframe what authenticity sounds like in 2025. The album rollout. The visuals imagine bridges, murals, champagne. The world would stop, and Harlem, it would dance. Now, let's zoom in. Strip away the headlines and mixtapes, and you find two men, Jim Jones and Max B, who've lived, lost, learned, and grown. That's the real story here. What happens when regret, time, and wisdom collide after years of conflict? Forgiveness is more than saying sorry, it's an act of leadership. In psychology, we call this emotional intelligence, the ability to manage your feelings and read the room. For Jim and Max, it's about showing manhood isn't just bravado, it's owning your past and your growth. Now you might be thinking, is the culture even ready for that kind of vulnerability? Let me tell you, hip-hop needs it. We've seen too many stories end in tragedy or bitterness, but a reunion would be a blueprint for healing, a roadmap for other artists, and maybe even for fans in their own lives. Imagine Max B walking into a room after years away, Jimmy standing up, both uncertain. That first handshake, that's history, that's humanity, that's hope. In the end, this isn't just about two artists. It's about all of us, and the possibility that even the deepest divides can become bridges. So I want to bring this straight to you, the listeners, because your perspective shapes the future of the culture. What would you do if Jim Jones and Max B actually reunited? Would you support it? Would you stream the track or show up for the show? Here's the thing, fan agency, or the collective power of supporters, has never been stronger. Social media turns every opinion into a movement. If enough of us demand unity, artists listen. Remember when Gucci and Jeezy squashed their beef? The world said it was impossible until it happened. Now, you might ask, should beef stay dead? Or is it time to move on for the culture's sake? Or maybe you're wondering, if they sat down, what would you want them to talk about first? Drop your thoughts, your dream track lists, or even your tough questions. This isn't just a Harlem thing, it's a hip-hop thing, and it's a human thing. We all crave closure, healing, and that one moment when the impossible becomes real. Because sometimes, the biggest what-ifs are just waiting for all of us to